Snap Publishing, where we discuss the secrets of Edward Leeds Gallen's Coral Castle, how it pertains to the biblical narrative, zodiac, DNA, and the periodic table. All right, welcome back. So, Matthew chapter 24, verse 22. And sometimes I might call it Mark, so bear with me, I'm a little old. But it talks about the elect. It comes from the Greek word eklektos. Eklektos means chosen or picked out. The root verb is eklegomai or may, eklegomai, meaning to choose out or select. It's essentially a person of God that God decides has the highest possible level of faith that cannot be removed even by torture and death. It's in their soul. Okay? It's on their center line. It's somebody who's baptized in, with, and of the Holy Spirit on all three levels. Father, Son, Spirit. They're in control of their spirit, their essence. In biblical terms, using very defined theology or theological terminology. When somebody says, I'm saved, I go, so you're sanctified, justified, and regenerated? They're like, what? Like, you don't even know what those words mean. If you follow what Paul, John, and Peter all talk about, you have to satisfy all three of those, sanctified, justified. So anyway, that is the elect are people that have it right up here and in here and downstairs. So this, what I call fake first contact event, where supposedly we're going to run into these aliens, because everybody's looking for a Messiah. Oh, we need somebody smarter than us. You ain't going to find it. You are the pinnacle of God's creation. You're not going to find anything better. So, this event in Matthew 24:22, this earth-shattering event, like in the movie Keanu Reeves did a remake, the day the earth stood still. This is the day the leftist, Satanist, globalists who work behind the scenes illegally, the deep state, the dark web of illegitimate, unelected government officials and businessmen and women, and world religious leaders have meticulously planned out, just like the fake flu, C-19, but more effectively. These programs go back to right after World War II. They picked up where the Nazis left off. And they're very advanced today. We'll get into it. But the signs are that the deep or dark web, the state and federal, they're going to merge. They're going to become like, there will be no more military. Everything will just become a police state. Your militaries won't exist. Your military will exist to be a police state. And it will be the death penalty for disobeying any of these orders. They're going to get very strict. This is going to legitimize their illegal activities, because today the Men in Black and all that shenanigans, where they come in and they take your work and your computer, and they show you movies where the Men in Black are good people. They're not. Oh, S.H.I.E.L.D., they're on America's side. No, they're not. They're globalist scum, and they don't like laws. They want to exist up here above the law. Okay? And their religious and economic system are simpatico. They all agree. They're all Satanists. And, you know, you could call them transhumanists or humanists. They're all cut from the same cloth, because they don't understand the Bible. And I believe God has literally withheld that from them. They can't understand it because they'll never get it. They're so smart, they're stupid. Okay? And there's cases in this world where, like, you join the army, you see all kinds of people. I realize, man, some people are so stupid that they're actually smart. Ta-da! Ta-da! Those super smart people will never understand what I just told you. You probably know because you know what I'm talking about. These people that come from meager backgrounds, very smart. They have common sense. Okay? Don't want to get on that road. But the rebuilding of Solomon's temple is going to click off the revealing of the Antichrist or Antichrist. Okay? And that Antichrist, it's a type of 3, Father, Son, Spirit, but in reverse. I told you about in Revelation. You got the false prophet, the beast, and the dragon, and the frog comes out of each one of their mouths. And how when I was in theological training, one of the teachers was asked, what are these frogs? And they really don't have an answer. Okay? Well, obviously they're amphibian. Amphibian is a type of reptile. They're very closely associated. But they're not. Reptiles different. The main thing you got to understand about an amphibian is their heart, but also their life cycle, how they go from little nymphs and tadpoles, and then they mature, and they start out like fish, and then they end up with lungs. But also their heart. They have a different, we have a 4-chambered heart. They have a different heart. If you read Daniel, it says the heart of a man was given to this image, and he was stood upon his feet. Okay, that's talking about the Babylonian Egyptian system. Okay? So when these Christian ministers would say, we don't really know, I'm like, how can they not know? It's been over 2,000 years, and God said in Job, I will not conceal their parts, power, and comely portion. That's when I realized, oh, the church has been taken over. Hey! My church was taken over. By who? These guys. Local 33. They crept in, and those Christian ministers who were salvation only, all you need to know is about salvation. It's mine, 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 all mine. Daffy Duck with his little diamond. They sold you down the road scientifically and mathematically. They dumbed you down. And they're the ones that are telling you, don't watch that guy's videos. Gee, I wonder why they don't want you watching this. Because you'll be smarter than them. You say, oh, you sound like the serpent in the garden. We've already done that, folks. We're in a whole new paradigm. You need to wake up. Okay? The people that are telling you, I'm leading you astray, this goes back so many generations of the church, they don't even know that you have to understand about slave ants and how they're raised. They're actually a royal bloodline, and those eggs were carried into the colony to become drones, worker drones. So when they hatch, they're told, do this, do that, clean the colony, go get some food, bring the queen some water. They're like, oh, okay. In their other colony, they all were the king. That is how you need to realize as a Christian. You need to understand, wow, I'm a worker drone, but I'm actually a king? Yes. It took me decades to realize that. That's when I became self-identical. That's when I became my own Christian. I started practicing Christianity at an individual level, and I stopped listening to the experts because I realized they don't know. How can you not know what these amphibians coming out of the mouth of the opposite of Father, opposite of Son, and opposite of Spirit are? How can you not know that amphibians, okay, the chambers of their hearts, their life cycle, what they represent, it's a different type of, it's a separation from reptiles, but they're still in that category. Okay, they tend to be a little more human friendly. I kind of got off on a little tangent there. I'm going to keep going with the script here. But anyway, this temple being rebuilt. Solomon's temple in the form of the periodic table is step 1. The next one is they're going to actually build the temple in Jerusalem on the Temple Mount. When that happens, this ushers in the end times. The clock strikes 12. And I told you in an earlier video, the hands never move, the dial's moving. And we're going into Aquarius. Aquarius, Neptune, Noah, Utnapishtim. He's going to be in the 12 o'clock position again. oh, that's when peace and love happens and everyone's hunky-dory, right? No. It starts out with bloodshed, pretty much like all of them do. Wake up, people. They're feeding you all this BS, right? So anyway, Jesus' resurrection, death, burial, resurrection, crucifixion, that ushered in Pisces. That's going bye-bye. Christianity is going to take a back seat to Judaism once again. God is going to start dealing with Israel. We are right now in the time of the Gentiles. It's coming to an end, people. So I tell you, you got to watch out what these podcasters are saying, because they don't understand the times that they're living in. And Christians have the most to lose when that clock strikes 12. Because they're not going to be the cock of the walk anymore. The peacock is now the feather duster. It's going to go back to the temple and animal sacrifices. I don't want to go down that road because that is a huge rabbit hole. But anyway, the temple is going to be reconstructed. It ushers in the age of Aquarius officially. And the world universal astronomical clock will then be striking 12 on the man and water position. Noah, Utnapishtim, Zeus, Poseidon, Neptune, Aquarius. Anyway, the temple reconstruction means you are definitely in the end times, and the Antichrist is going to be revealed. We don't know what time frame from one to the other. Could be instant, could be several years. We don't know. He's part Hebrew, but he despises Israel. He has Israeli blood, but he hates that country. These are the things we know about Antichrist. Comes from north and west of Israel. It is said to be part of the old Persian Empire. Okay? And I get into other videos. You have to watch my stuff. Who are the Persians? And the Medes. Medes and the Persians. MED is DEM, Democrat. Persians, PER, is REP, Republican. So they're going to be hippies and whatever? No. They're going to be a religious organization that's strict. It does not recognize women. People say, oh, that's Islam, that's Islam. No, it ain't. They take tenets and beliefs that are practiced in Islam and they incorporate it. It's not Islam. You're wrong. There's conservative Muslims that are going to distance themselves from this group. The thing you need to know about this group that gets behind Antichrist, the false prophet, the beast, and the dragon, people are going to distance themselves from it. It's a secret organization, people. It comes by way of this right here. It's all done. Hey, man, don't let the public see what we're like. Because these church people, these very spiritual individuals, will kill us. Because they're so wicked. And it's all practiced in the dark. But once these guys start getting, you know the old saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. They get more and more bold in public when people end up, oh, hey, let's all just get along. People are less violent and more tolerant. So these people gain power and they get more public with their displays. It's practiced within esoteric orders. So if you got us up top, that's level 1 of Noah's Ark, where all the petables, the elephants, the giraffes, all the nicety. Then you got level 2, right? Your lanthanide and actinide series. The esoteric orders of today are in that second row. They practice their beliefs below the church, the accepted stuff. And then below that are the real creepy crawlies, the third level. The things that got saved from the flood that make people go, ooh, spiders, bats, rattlesnakes. That's where they are. They're in the esoteric group. They're below that. Numbers 2:2, chapter 22, verse 2, through chapter 24, verse 25, will give you excellent insight into the workings of esoteric orders, secret organizations of the lower second and third stories of Noah's Ark, quote unquote. If you read about Balak, take his name and move it around and you get Cabal. Balak is the Cabal. Esoteric secret societies. They work illegally behind the scenes because they know they could never get it passed through Congress and Senate. People would never agree to it. So they exist in the shadows. They're the dark web. They're behind the dark web. They created the dark web. They are the dark web. And if their efforts are exposed in the light, they will go to jail. They're illegitimate. They're an illegitimate spin-off of your government. Illegitimate spin-off hijacking of your religion. All your religious leaders at the very top, they're all part of it. They sold you out because they don't know King Solomon's temple is the periodic table. They had no way of arguing that back in the Scopes monkey trial and all these times along the way where the academics took that over. And the church went, okay, here you go, Mr. Academic. You're smarter than me. Because we're dull-minded Christians. Stupidity-doo. Stupidity-doo. Gum, dum. Gave it away. Here you go. Take our birthright. You don't have to take it. We'll give it to you. Oh, aliens are here? Oh, they must be real. But anyway, Balak is Cabal. Balaam, you get the name Baal. Baalbek. It's above Israel, right? North of Israel. That represents the law. That's the legal system. That's what Baalbek is. So this is a cabal that uses the law. Balak and Balaam. Balaam was this, one of the two. I got my brain scrambled right now, but the one was trying to get the other to curse Moses and the children of Israel. And notice what he did. He brought them up on these different levels, high places that were gradually or lower. He started out high and went lower. Look at him from here. Oh, look what Moses is doing in the tabernacle. Look at their religious practices. They're different from you. This religion's going to take over the world. That didn't work, so he took them to the middle. That was the Holy of Holies, where the good people are. Moses practicing his religion, talking to God, doing good. Well, the guy didn't curse him there, so I'll bring him to the middle, the holy place. We were at the 9, now we're at the 6. We were at the fluorine, now we're at the carbon. Oh, look at them from here. They're not as good as those people up front where they're close to Moses and Aaron and Joshua. They're not living right. They're in the middle. Didn't curse them there either. Oh, we'll take them to the tail end where the prostitutes are and all the people with tattoos and the Hell's Angels. Woo! Moses is on the other end of town. This is where all the kind of iffy stuff goes on. I'll take him there and he'll see how evil these Jews are. You see what's going on today in politics? This is what they're doing. It's happening right now. Oh, let's look at Israel from over here. Let's look at them from over here. Let's look at them from here. And it happens with Islam. It happens with Christians. It happens with Buddhists. These esoteric people, These anti-God people, humanistic, transhumanist people who are praying that aliens show up because they hate God. Oh, hey, look at the tail end, man. Look at all them prostitutes, the people with tattoos smoking. Oh, yeah, you got to curse them from here. And he said, nope, not going to curse them. That's how they work, people. Read that whole, like, I just gave you a good reading lesson. Drill that chapter, or those chapters into your skull. That's how they operate. Very insightful. Even though that book is thousands of years old, still pertains today. Just like Persians, the Medo-Persians, Dems and Reps. Nothing's changed, people. Oh, that Bible, that's not scientific. It isn't. Our political parties today are based in it. You meathead. Mom, wake up. All your science, your language, a lot of your astronomical mathematics came from the Bible, came from the Enuma Elish, came from the Greek legends, came from the Vedic texts, the Mahabharata, all of them. Before Harvard and Oxford and all of them existed, those books existed. Those aren't scientific. Yes, they are. You meathead. But anyway, these people are the keepers of the wall, not the keepers of the law. Take law, you reverse it. So they're keepers of the wall. There's a visible version of the wall and an invisible version. Okay, there's people that build walls to keep people out of their country, but there's people behind the scenes, like in Hollywood. Terrence Howard, he gets eight-balled because of his political beliefs, his scientific beliefs. He's like, hey, why can't I get a job around here? Everyone's turning me down. Yeah, because you hit that wall. Balak and Balaam. They're working behind the scenes because they hate you, dude. You're speaking the truth. You're not a, okay, I'll go along, bah, bah. You're not a sheep. You're self-identical. They hate you. You're showing people, hey, you don't have to be just an actor. Wow, I'd kill to be an actor. Yeah, it's all right, but, you know, there's other things. There is? Yes. Finding yourself. Check it out. You might like it. Write your goals down. Achieve them. Don't let anyone pull them away from you. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Those three levels that he was told to curse Israel from, it's no different than Eve when the serpent deceived her. It was the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. Lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, pride of life. In that order. 9, 6, 3. Anyway, we've already covered that. This is a list of things to look for fake first contact. I call it FFC19 instead of C19. Fake first contact, just like C19. Next lie in line. These so-called aliens are, some of them are actually dimensional beings. Who are dimensional beings? This goes down a really deep rabbit hole. I'll touch on it. On the other video, I talked about Ralph Ring and his work with Otis Carr. And he warned the government when the men in black came in and took his stuff. He said, hey, you can't bring weapons through time. If you try to do that and go hunt T-Rex, that'll be cool. Yeah, that's going to blow up in your face. You can't go there and take over countries and change history. Yeah, it ain't going to work. You can't go play the stock market and come back to your time frame and wait for the money to roll in. Doesn't work that way. They did not listen. This ties into those deep underground military bunkers you're hearing about, that money that disappeared, that $26 trillion or whatever it is. Oh, they got this system under the New York and it goes all the way to the West Coast and blah, 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 blah. If you follow the southwestern Indian legends about the ant people coming up, it says their ancestors saw these people coming out of the mesas and these caverns, and the sun was hurting their eyes. In the Time Machine, H.G. Wells touches on this, the Molochs. These are the people that when God shook the earth, they ran under the roots of the mountains to hide. Some of them did it just understanding nature's systems and living in these caverns, okay, in a water trap. So if the world flooded, they would be in a trap where they were in a pressurized bubble. They were okay. And others did it through technological advancements. So these people that are doing these time trials, what you're seeing when you see these beings, they're actually people that went through multiple time trials, and they try changing their situation every time, and they only get more and more depraved. So you hear about this guy who was drilling a deep military bunker 1,000 feet down, and they run into one of these facilities where these insects, they stunk. They were like, today they're calling them praying mantis beings, the gray aliens, and then they got this one that's a praying mantis. But that essentially was us in the future. You're seeing a future version of us, where these people, they started going down in these deep underground laboratories, messing with time, and now they're stuck in it's like they can never leave Earth. They think, oh, we're going to different planets and star systems. No, you're not. You've never left Earth. You're just changing your hologram. If you listen to what Terrence Howard is saying about why it's near impossible to live on other planets in this body, okay, in this flesh, this carbon-based life form, you're not going to do it. I went to a different planet. They took me. You never left. Okay? And a lot of those people that claim that stuff were microdosed with LSD. And there's forms of drugs today that are untraceable. So, oh, we tested him for LSD, MUFON, and we tested him, he passed. Well, did you test him specifically? Because just like ricin that the Soviets used, unless you tested for that, you didn't detect it. It was only until a failed injection happened to a British scientist. They tried jabbing him with the umbrella that injected the ricin. They took the pellets out and they said, what is this stuff? And the pellets were tiny. That's how they figured out what ricin was. Ricin. So a lot of these people that are claiming, oh, I got taken away by aliens, the government picked them up. And the government has animal insect hybrid beings they've created in laboratories since the 1950s. There's also advanced robotics. Some of these Sasquatch sightings, that's what they are. They're a robot, very advanced weapon system. They cover it in fur so that if people see it, they don't get to see the technology. They just say, oh my God, I saw a Sasquatch. It's the greatest cover the CIA ever come up with. And the CIA didn't figure it out, the Russians did. It was Joseph Stalin's #1 top secret program. That's what Roswell was. All that was leftover Nazi equipment and alien animal hybrids, and they crashed them to make it look like America was under attack. Because Stalin listened to the broadcast Orson Welles made, War of the Worlds, and he noticed Americans were shooting at each other thinking they were under attack, and he said, hey, we need to take this to the next level. The CIA saw the different things that they did in Roswell, New Mexico, the Carolinas, West Virginia. Like I said, I talked about in TikTok, the Dover Demon here in Massachusetts. Okay. It was either a genetically modified lemur that had bioluminescent jellyfish DNA so that it could glow in the dark. It was fluorescent yellow-green. And it climbed trees very good. And the way that they all described it's a lemur. I used to drive by the guardrail that the young couple, they were a teenage couple, the girl saw it first and her boyfriend saw it, but then it took off. But the girl was driving and he goes, what are you looking at? And she's like, oh my God, what is that? And it was running along a guardrail. I've been by, my son and I used to cut through there to go, I had to drop him off. That's the halfway, the middle point between him and me. So we'd take that scenic route on my Harley. And I'd point out, I'd say, see that guardrail? That's where the Dover Demon was crawling on. And I could take him down the road where the kid went into the woods too. And he saw it up in the tree. But they either dipped this creature in a glow-in-the-dark biological fluid that enabled it to glow in the dark. It was either a process where they dipped the animal, or maybe they had it soaking, or they bleached it somehow. And or they actually, I believe they spliced the DNA successfully. And they have bioluminescence. But there's all kinds of these beings that people are seeing and they don't know what they are. And they think, oh, it must be aliens. No. Aliens are us. We talked about this. If you go to some distant star system, you're just doing this. Okay, you're on Earth. Now you're where? You're Alpha Centauri. You just did that. It's still you. It's just your future. Okay, you can go into your past. You can go into your future. You go to these star systems. Why can't we ever be like Star Trek and Star Wars? Star Trek. Because you're changing your future. It's just as detrimental as going in the past, changing your past. People, you need to wake up. You can never leave. This is when Alex Jones talks about, hey, we're in a prison planet. We really are. For our own good, because in this body, we are taught discipline. And that discipline is don't lust. Don't hate. Get rid of your hate. Cast out the 9s. Cast out the hydrogen. Okay, cast out the 3s. Okay, even the 6s. Your hydrogen is hate. That's Lucifer. So anyway, that's your animal insect splices. Today they're seeing a guy, the dude fishing looked on the shoreline and he could see something. He's like, what is that? It was a huge 7 or 8 foot tall praying mantis. There's different explanations for that. It's either a cloaking, like Harry Potter's cloaking cloak, whatever the heck it was called, the cloak of invisibility. They have stuff like that, and they can project any image they want on it. So it was either a human underneath something like that, testing out the weapon system, camouflage system, and the fisherman saw it and was like, oh my God. Or it's an actual being that was created in a laboratory. And they let them loose, and they have ways of tracking them or controlling them. And you're seeing a lot of different things. There's a lot of different systems out there, a lot of different technologies. And you run into these dimensional beings. Like I say, there's humans that screwed up in these deep underground laboratories that are trapped in stupid loops, going through time and trying to improve their situation. They've doomed themselves. They're doomed. Those people digging those big underground bases, they're digging their own graves. So you got your Mothmans. There's a Silver Man now that a lot of people are seeing. All really hard to describe silver. And it can shoot a beam that just screws you up for hours. People have missing time after it shoots the beam and hits them. The guy's mechanical watch, analog watch, was fused. And it walked through a fence. Well, it probably did not walk through a fence. It's probably just an orb that they levitate. And they project that image of that silver being. Okay, so it's not even real. You're just looking at a hologram. And it can be done by space, or it can be done by hovering, zero-point energy cloaked craft. And now they got drones. There's a lot of advancements now. And when it looks like, oh, it just walked through a chain link fence, no. Okay, hey, they might have the ability now because they can move carbon buckyballs. Carbon-12, they can project that through time. So they may have a suit that you put on that enables you to project through solid matter. They turn you into a plasma and they push you through and you're unaffected. The guy who, he had the website, Electric Universe, he's the one that predicted when star systems, galaxies would pass through each other, they wouldn't do any damage. Previous to that, all these astrophysicists were like, oh, this system's going to smash and the planets are going to, oh, it's going to create these nebula and, oh, it's going to be a catastrophe. And he said, nope, they pass right through each other and the fingers don't even touch. It's mostly empty space. There are some collisions, but not like you think. And by the way, if you follow Jimmy Carter, does the smoke ring demonstrations. He's not related to President Jimmy Carter, but he has a smoke cannon and he shows you these smoke rings passing harmlessly through each other. They go right through. This circle ring passes through another ring, and the molecules, they stay together. And they go back and forth just like this. They lens in and out. Things can pass through each other harmlessly. I'm going to move on. I'm going to talk about the dragon, and then the beast, and then the false prophet. The beast is a man possessed of Satan. And he has a spiritual movement behind him. That's the false prophet. But he also, the people create something. If you read Revelation 13:17, chapter 13, verse 17, it said, the people enabled this system that gets validated. And it's based on the number of his name and the image of the beast. So this ties into a lot of science and how I tell you that if there's a 6 over here, there's its mirror image. So if carbon is us, and that's in the holy place, there has to be an alternate version of it. This is why I tell you the church has been dumbed down for years. They didn't include Dinah as one of Jacob's 12. They left her out because they were trying to fit 12 boys in. They don't tell you that if you have a good Eve, you have an evil Eve. That's who Shiva is. That's who Lilith is. Okay, it's Eve in sin mode. Okay? So, wherever you have these good patriarchs, there is some shadow figure of them. And these esoteric orders, they have elected these people in these positions. There is a woman who is in the stead of Mary, Jesus' mom. And Mary had her entourage. She had Mary Magdalene, Mary, Jesus' mom, and Elizabeth, her cousin. That's the good trio. These secret societies have the opposite of that. Don't want to go down that road. But we see in that scripture, it talks about the number of his name. The 666 means the sixth element. Man was created on the sixth day. We have 6 senses. Unless we get to God, he gives us that extra portion Jacob gave to Joseph. He said to Joseph on his deathbed, I've given you an extra portion above your brethren. Okay, that baptism in, with, and of the Holy Spirit enables us to hone our 7th sense. So anyway, the beast doesn't make his own image. The people did it. Pay close attention to that. Because we're complicit. Revelation chapter 13, verse 14. He has the power to give life to that. But he kind of walked into this. It's something pre-existing. And this image that he sets up. So in other words, you had the false prophet, the beast, and the dragon. This is the dragon. If you look at the pyramid complex, it's simple. It's the Great Pyramid. The 4 shafts, AT, GC. That is the dragon. It was built over an active geyser, very powerful geyser, and it would blow out the main door. And one day that thing melted down. That's why it's all vitrified rock around that complex. The nuclear materials, it melted down. That was the fall of Lucifer. So once you realize, okay, all I got to do is put it in perspective of the three pyramids? Yes. Yes. Once you do that, it becomes simple. Like, man, what are these confusing images? They're not confusing. You're confused because your church dumbed you down. So the dragons connected to ATGC, it's code. What this is telling us is very scientific. Revelation 13:14. It's probably talking about AI. We call it artificial intelligence. The Bible called it the altar of incense. It's your heart, where your brain, you hash things out. It's the threshing floor of Atad. Look it up. It's in the Bible. ATAD. Turn the letters around. It comes to spell data. That's in the Bible? Yes. Gum gum. You want some dum dum? Or dum dum. You want some gum gum? It's in the Bible. This book that's crazy book. Really? The threshing floor of data. How hard is that? I don't get it. Oh my God. Moving on. It has the power to speak and put to death people for being disobedient. Gee, I wonder what that is. Huh. But anyway, the government's going to spoon feed you face-first contact events as they unfold. This is how you know it's all phony baloney. You will never, as a civilian, be allowed to test everything. They're going to do all the tests for you, and that's going to pass with flying colors. Oh, yeah, it's not human DNA. Do you mind if I check? Oh, no, can't do that. Just like C-19. Hey, do you mind if we see this virus? Oh, can't show it to you because it doesn't exist. It's just bird flu. That's all it is. It's a strain of something that's already been here, and it has this genetic code saying it was created in a lab by us. That all came out after all the lies were exposed. The same thing is going to happen with alien fake first contact. People, trust me, don't be a sucker, right? The people who are going to swallow this whole are simps. Only certain people are going to be let in, and they're going to be led by the nose. Here you go. Look over here. Oh, see how it's real? Okay, look over here. Like those fake, what do you call it? They were checking the gold in Fort Knox, and they brought in a postal scale to weigh the bricks. It's like, dude, how unprofessional can you get? Okay, you don't bring an analog scale in to check to see if somebody took a gram out of a brick. You just don't do that. An imbecile knows that. But simps are like, oh no, they measured it. They showed us. They led us by the nose and said, look at these very specific things. Okay, time to go. Joseph Stalin called people like that useful idiots. So this recent Predator drone shooting a Maverick missile and hitting the supposed UAP UFO. I laugh. I'm like, dude, that is right up the CIA's playbook. First of all, it can be all computer generated these days. You'd never know the difference. Second of all, it can be done with holograms. They have all the codes. They used to attack our own nuclear facilities and say, oh, it was aliens. Rendlesham Forest. Rendlesham Forest were people that were on drugs. They didn't know it. They got slipped the Mickey, right? But when they went out there, they were buzzed. That's why they had this weird feeling. Oh, man, it mesmerized me, these blinking lights. Yeah, they gave you some kind of drug that, oh, we got tested for that. We didn't have anything. We tested specifically for it. Then you would never know. That's how advanced stuff is these days. So they wanted to upgrade our nuclear capabilities. On facilities were falling apart. They used old copper wire. They wanted to go to fiber optic. Send in the vehicle. Like Frau Monobrow, or whatever her name was, from Austin Powers. Send in the, she'd yell, send in the whatever. And everyone would go, geez, she's loud. That's what the government does. Send in the UAP, UFO. And people are like, oh, I believe it. I believe it. Oh, yeah. I'm like, I don't believe that. Somebody shot down a UAP with a Maverick missile. Where's the debris field? Where are the witnesses? Oh, it was in the middle of nowhere. It was a military training exercise. Oh, how convenient. Never in a populated area. Never over a wealthy neighborhood. You ever notice? The Dover Demon is the only alien encounter that has ever happened in a wealthy neighborhood. That's one of the most wealthy towns in Massachusetts. And do you know how many heads probably rolled as a result of that little experiment? I'll bet you. They don't do these. You'll never hear J.P. Pennypacker's wife say she was abducted from her mansion estate. Nope. They go to all these places where poor people, middle-class people are. They scare old ladies. That's all they can do. They're phonies. It's all fake. You're being sold a bill of goods. So anyway, their agenda is going to be, okay, everyone's got to give up their right to free speech, their right to bear arms, their right to religion. National identities are going to be done away with. It's going to be a communist socialist dictatorship. That's how you know this is the globalist agenda. This has nothing to do with aliens attacking or trying to integrate into human society. Nothing. Transgenderism's going to flourish, especially anything dealing with children. They're going to be heavily involved in that. Right? Your freedom, your 1A rights, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, done. Totally done away with. Okay? They're into dark tantric level 3 sort of depravity. Travel's going to be heavily restricted, heavily monitored. Demonetizations are going to go rampant again. And militaries give way to police states. Questioning the fake ET is going to result in you being called the media are going to blitz you. And you're going to be called a conspiracy nut. And anyone who speaks out about, and the people who actually find flaws, because they are scientific-minded people that can prove scientifically it's all a hoax. Yeah, they're really going to, just like the doctors who came out against C-19. They came out against them people hard. Same thing with this. And they'll go as far as assassinations. And assassinations are becoming so mainstream now, people aren't even going to think of them as murder anymore. They're going to think of it as, oh, it's just another necessary event for a function of government. And of invoking the name of Jesus, 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 saying Jesus' name, oh my God, that's going to bring the world down on you. So anyway, the deception is going to be so massive, it's going to challenge the very elect people like me beliefs. It's going to be so believable. This is going to be the showstopper, people. They're pulling all the stops on this one. So we're going to leave it there. I just want to get that scripture from Mathew, drill it into your head, because it's coming. And I'm preparing the way. I'm letting people know, hey, alien fake first contact's coming. The building of the temple's coming. The change of the astronomical setting on the clock, the outer dial is going to spin, and it's going to be Aquarius. So I appreciate your taking time to tune in, and peace out. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and check us out in the links in the description below.